just forget all that horse shit. We are going to go to our next guest. He is going to join us here on the old Skype, the old Skype-a-rooney. We're going to go to Preston Rendell. Preston Rendell.
Hello.
And I believe there's Preston Rendell. How are you, sir? How are you?
How you doing? Good. Good.
Now, you have got, by the way, we've got Preston Rendell with us today. He is, of course, an author and a boxing expert, and he is one of my favorite people to talk to, and I'm glad that we've got him on today here on our big program. And he is the author of Room Full of Killers, as the great Erwin Zucker would call it. I talked to Erwin yesterday, and he goes, I got to get Preston Rendell on, because he's got that book, Room Full of Killers. So I'm glad Erwin is as excited as I am to talk with you today. So Preston, I hear a rumor that this may be turned into a movie. Is this true?
Well, I got a company that's interested in it.
That's awesome.
And, yeah, and we're what do you call it? Talking about it.
Yeah.
It's in the talking stages.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Rumble Films. R-U-M-B-L-E Films.
Rumble Films. Wow.
It's perfect for my book.
It is.
Yeah. This is a match made in heaven.
It is. It is fantastic. It is Preston Rendell. He joins us today here in our broadcast, and he has got Room Full of Killers. It is the latest, and he is one of our favorite people on this broadcast, and I'm glad that we've got him on with us today here on our big program. So Preston, this book is amazing. Tell me a little bit about why you decided to write this book.
Well, I was writing for fitness magazines for about 25 years.
Yeah.
I was writing for four bodybuilder magazines.
Awesome.
Training and nutrition articles. And all along, it's 20 years, I'm telling my female friend all my stories about me being involved in the north end of Boston, which is 100% Italian, and all my crazy boxing stories. So I got awarded 3 times the best writer of training and for 3 years, best writer of training and nutrition articles. So I'm telling her these stories. She says, "Why don't you write a book?" I said, "Why did I think of that?" So I hibernated for 2.5 years, 6 to 8 hours a day without one day off, and wrote this book.
Wow.
535 pages.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I edited it down from 700.
Wow.
And it's at this stage where it is now. It's very, very tight. There's nothing you could take out of there. You know what I mean? And it's an unbelievable book. I'm getting people leaving messages on my phone. It's the best book I ever read. Thank you for writing it. I got stuff on Facebook. People, one girl from New Jersey, Eileen Zuccato. I never met her. I'm in Massachusetts. She wrote. I read the book when I changed my grandson. I read it when I was doing the laundry. I read it when I was cooking dinner. So I couldn't put it down. She said, I read the book in 5 days. It's 535 pages, 5 days. So she said, it's the best fiction book I ever read, and I'm a voracious reader.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
I knew it was good when I wrote it, but the compliments that are coming in are flooring me.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you've got you've got some people that are interested in the book. I think that's great. I think that's actually pretty damn fantastic, my friend.
Yeah, it's all, and I got some. It's a lot about Italian. It's about my Italian family, the mafia, my crazy, funny Italian family versus the not so funny, but crazy mafia. You know, I kind of bounce back and forth because I lived in Boston, the North End. Well, when I moved in there was a mob war going on.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. So, but anyway, on weekends I go home to my family in in the suburbs of Boston, and it'd be all munja, funny music, wine, a whole different thing. Then I go back into Boston to all the killings, and that's just the way it happened. That's
Awesome.
unfolded.
It's Preston Rendell. He's with us today here on our broadcast. We are going to hear Preston Rendell, who is going to join us back here on Skype audio. And I believe we've got Preston Rendell back with us. And he joins us today here on our big program. And Preston, your book is absolutely amazing. Room Full of Killers. You've gotten a lot of great feedback on this. It's potentially going to become a movie at some point. So tell me about some of the different characters in the book.
Well, the lead character is a guy named Gianni Valentino Romasco.
Okay.
And his female friend is Anna Piscatelli. And they met in a bar in not a bar. You know the Regina Pizza in Boston?
Yes, indeed. Know it well. Yes.
That's where we met. This book's 90% true. You know.
Fantastic.
And I met this girl who I'm still with in Regina Pizza.
Fantastic.
And and they have a bunch of mob guys in there too, but it's all. But I don't use the real names, you know. And my family, I use my family's name, the real names. My mother's Rita, her mother's Nina, my father's Roy Romasco, Rita Romasco, Nina Romasco, and that's what I was brought up by, you know. And I was brought up by Italian mother and Italian grandmother, so all I did was manja. My father was a musician. My mother played the piano. She played funny stuff, regular stuff, and on Sunday morning she played classical every Sunday morning. And my grandmother was the biggest ham in the world. She'd sing at the drop of a hat. My mother's brother sang with a big band in Charlie Barnett in the 40s. And that was
Wow.
almost as big as Tommy Dorsey. It was in the top 10 of the biggest big bands. And my uncle sang with them. His name was John Romasco.
Wow.
So and his wife made him give it up because he had too many women after him. And John was not Cary Grant by any means, but they liked his singing, I guess. Everybody's in there, all my whole family. And the dialogue they use is exactly the dialogue that they used. You know, it's not what I'm putting in fiction things. It's exactly what they said. Now, my trainer is a guy named John. His real name was Johnny Two Heads. Who's a
I love that.
Yeah, H-A-D.
Johnny Two Heads.
Oh yeah, he was a killer. He used to say, "Look me up in the yellow pages under killer."
Yes,
And
that is awesome. Look me up in the yellow pages under killer.
And he was, believe me, he was the most killer I ever met in my life.
Fantastic.
He had an 80-8 record with 70-something knockouts.
Wow.
And he wouldn't sign with the mob, so he didn't get a title shot. He made the cover of Ring magazine around 1957 or so.
Wow. Holy crap.
They squeezed him out because he wouldn't sign with the mob. And that's in the book too.
Wow.
That's what Gianni Romasco runs into. He goes up the ladder, boxing, and then he runs into the mob. You don't go any further. You got to sign with us.
Wow.
There's a hitman in there called the Chopper. He comes up from New Jersey.
Of course, he comes up from New Jersey, and that's what it's all about on this program. Is everything either connects to Iowa or New Jersey? We have got Preston Rendell with us today. He's a boxing expert, also an author. He's an award-winning author. He's winning rave reviews for his latest book, a novel. It's called Room Full of Killers, which is now being considered as a movie in Hollywood. Preston resides on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. He's also an Irwin Literary Award winner for his novel industry recognition for writers in the news, and he is also one of the nation's top experts on professional boxing, having been a boxer as well. And so, Preston, what do you make of this comeback and this return of Iron Mike Tyson? I've seen some of this stuff online. He looks like he ought to be in that. He ought to be in your movie Room Full of Killers. What do you make of the return of Iron Mike?
Well, he's going to fight a exhibition, I think it is, with Evander Holyfield.
Yes, yes.
So. Yeah.
Yes,
well, it's a moneymaker.
It's one of the rumors.
Moneymaker. I'm sure Tyson's. I'm sure he's still a tough guy. And I'm sure Evander's still a tough guy.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the fight, but those two guys, I don't think will be an exhibition because they're the kind of guys. Once they get hit, the brain turns to kill.
That's awesome.
That's kind of when I was in boxing. I get in the fight. The first round would start, and you get hit a couple of times, and you say, "This guy's in there to kill me."
This guy's in there to kill me.
I got to get him before he gets me. And that's what will happen to Tyson. And I guarantee you they can't pull the punches especially Tyson. But that's what's going to happen. So I'd pay to see it. No, I don't know if I'd pay, but I'd love to see it. Tyson's. I'm sure Evander's in excellent shape. Tyson didn't look that bad of shape. I saw him on the thing when he was with the Sharks there a couple of weeks ago on TV.
Yes, yes.
That was interesting. And, he was scared. I don't blame him. Being in an ocean with sharks around you. Anyway. Yeah, Mike is an interesting guy,
Yes.
There's going to be a Broadway show sooner or later called Tyson. A musical.
There's going to be a musical on Iron Mike. Well,
I wouldn't be surprised. He's a hot topic.
It is Preston Rendell. He's with us today here in our broadcast. Room Full of Killers is the latest from him. They're getting ready to potentially make this into a big movie, and he joins today here on Skype audio. And so you're also regarded as an authority on the mafia. Talk to us a little bit about Marilyn Monroe's connection to the mafia, and talk a little bit about how her death might have been avoided. It's quite the story, my friend. Give us some details here.
Well, I got my information from a guy named Gianni Russo.
Okay.
Gianni Russo. He's a very interesting guy, a very bright guy.
Yes.
And they had an interview with him on TV for an hour and a half. Not TV, on the computer. So I just caught it. I said, I got to see what this guy's got to say. He was 15 years old, and he was working in a hairdresser's salon. And he used to comb out her hair after they did whatever, you know what I mean, and dry her hair and blah, blah, blah. So she invites him to her apartment. He goes in and spends the weekend with her. 15,
Wow.
So that's what he says, he gets, if you see him, I don't think he was lying. But he started doing jobs for the mob, like collecting money and delivering money and pickups and all that stuff. And she was making thousands of dollars a week when he was a teenager. This was in the 50s. So he's 77. So he's got 2 or 3 best-selling books out, and it's all about mob stuff. And he tells you who killed Kennedy, the guy's name. It's an Italian guy. I can't remember his name. It's an odd name. But here's what happened. This is what he said happened to Marilyn Monroe. Jack Kennedy was jacking her around and telling us he was dating her before he got elected president. He told her when he gets elected, he's going to divorce Jackie and marry her, which was just a story to make her hang around. So he got elected, then he didn't divorce Jackie, and she got very upset, and he put his brother on Marilyn, which is Bobby Kennedy. They had a big affair. Now, Bobby Kennedy gets Marilyn pregnant. She wants to have the kid. He says, no, you got to have an abortion. She says, I'm going to go to the newspapers with this whole story about you and your brother. 2 days later, she's dead. The mob went in her house and they killed her with a needle with air in it, which is an embolism, and they shot it into her vagina so they couldn't find any needle marks.
Wow.
Yeah. He said that's how they killed her. So, I don't know. It's a hell of a story. But he also told how Kennedy got killed. John Kennedy. He had the mob got Kennedy elected. Here's the deal. This is what he says once again. The mob got Kennedy elected by manipulating votes in Chicago. There was one place that it could have gone either way through Chicago. The mob got Kennedy elected. And after Kennedy got in, he put his brother as Attorney General, who immediately went after Sam Giancana, who was a mob boss in Chicago. They're not happy, you know. And they hit on Kennedy. And Lee Harvey Oswald was one of the shooters. The other guy, he says, I forget his name. The things on YouTube, it's Sam Gianni Russo plus Marilyn Monroe. You put that in YouTube, you get the whole thing, the whole story. It's unbelievable. And he says Harvey Oswald shot from the back. He said, then this Italian guy, he named his first and last name. I can't remember. It's a big, long Italian name. He said he come out of a what do you call those things? With the sewer cover. What are those things called?
Oh, manhole covers.
Yeah, manhole cover. He said he pushed up a manhole cover. He was in front of the car and he shot him in the head from the front. And he said the guy's name. That's what he said. He said the guy's name. So remember, he talks about it like he's talking about lunch of a baseball game. Well, he's not dramatic about it. He's a very cool customer. And I haven't read his books yet, but geez, I'd love to. When I get around to it. But
pretty damn amazing. It's Preston Rendell with us today. He joins us live here on Skype Audio to discuss his book Roomful of Killers. Also, he is a mafia expert. We're discussing some of the other details on that as well. Some of the credits in Preston's career. He won the Mr. USA in the 1980s. He came in second in the Mr. Universe contest in 1998 in Las Vegas. Talk to me about your bodybuilding career, because
let me give you one quick story. Another one he told.
Okay, go.
He knows all about Jimmy Hoffa.
Knows about Jimmy
Hoffa.
Hoffa
Stole $200 million out of the Teamsters retirement fund.
Wow.
And he gave it to the mob to build Las Vegas. And they did, and every mob family across the country got one hotel.
Wow.
Now, I didn't quite understand. I think they just wanted to shut him up. But what they did with him is they killed him probably with a bullet. They put him in a car they took the engine out and the frame out, and they squashed the car to a suitcase size. And they buried it somewhere. And he said then they had to dig it up once because they almost found it. He said, but they'd never get anything out of it, and they couldn't open that up and say it's him, That's what he said. Now, my bodybuilding. You want to know about my?
Yes, I want to know a little bit about your bodybuilding here, my friend, in the remaining time we have here.
Yeah, I started bodybuilding when I was a skinny guy. I was a kid, and I didn't weigh 97 pounds. I think I weighed 87. But I started bodybuilding just to put on some weight. Then I got as soon as I started getting weight, I got hooked, and training like crazy. And I opened that first health club in Massachusetts in '64. And I had that for 10 years. And I opened the second house club in Cape Cod, I think it was 77. And I had that for about 10 years. But I competed in several contests in this, let me think, the 60s or 70s. Yeah, in the late 70s, I competed in 3 or 4 contests. I got blown away because the guys were taking steroids. And I said, what the hell is steroids?
Yep.
So I took steroids. I tried it. I took steroids for like 2 weeks. My blood pressure went to like, I don't know, went through the roof. And 2 weeks, I said, I don't need this. So I stopped taking it. I didn't compete anymore. I have to take a ton of steroids to compete. Then they started having natural contests where they take a blood test and a lie detector. And if you clean, that's, So I entered the Mr. USA, and I won. And then
fantastic.
Then in Las Vegas, I entered the Universe in '98, I think it was. Actually, I entered 2 years in a row. And the guy that won it, I bet the farm he wasn't natural. I don't know how he beat the test, but he was he's 5'8", 232, and it had skin like Saran wrap. No, this guy blew arms away. His back was like 3 inches thick.
It is Preston Rendell. He's with us today here in our broadcast. And as we wrap up here with you, Preston, how do we find you online, get your books, everything else, my friend?
Okay, I got a website called PrestonsHealthSpa.com.
Okay.
And my book's available on Amazon, Room Full of Killers. Now, since my book's gotten hot, a guy put a title up there called A Room Full of Killers. I guess he wanted a drawer of my book.
Oh, wow.
Imagine that. But my book's Room Full of Killers. And
wow.
I'm sure somebody's ordered the wrong one at one point, but I'm just trying to clarify that so you don't get trapped in that thing. Unbelievable, huh?
Well, Preston,